Hit the lights.
You've discovered the Halfwatt podcast.
Hit the lights.
We want to educate and entertain by tapping into the most trusted source of new technology. We want to the ones installing and innovating it. You, the tradespeople that build from the ground up. The ones installing. Join us as we talk with industry leaders, veteran contractors, and even some young blood. Join us as we talk with industry leaders, veteran contractors, and even some young blood.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Today I have a super special episode. This has been something that Gage has been working on for quite a while.
Yep.
I have with us Adam Moscherosch. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Nailed
Nice.
it. From where?
I'm from Milwaukee Tool.
Milwaukee Tools. The Milwaukee Tools, kids. The Milwaukee Tools. Even though it's not spelled like Milwaukee, Oregon. We don't hold it against Milwaukee Tools.
Big red W.
But it's the big, there is not, I don't know an electrician that doesn't use your tools. I just don't know of one that doesn't use your tools. It's just that simple.
No, that's awesome to hear. And yeah, appreciate you having me.
We love your stuff, man.
Love it.
Tell us about your new line, please.
Yeah, so we're launching, just started shipping a new line of cutting pliers and screwdrivers made right here in West Bend, Wisconsin. So about 5 minutes north of our corporate office in Brookfield, Wisconsin.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Made in the good old USA?
Yes. Yep. Made in
love
USA with 100% USA sourced materials too. So the metals, the resins, down to the packaging, all right here from the US, made in our factory right here in West Bend.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Employing Americans right here in the good old USA. Mm-hmm. So it's where's the actual factory at?
So it's West Bend, Wisconsin. It's about 25 minutes north of our corporate office, which is in Brookfield. I'd say about 40 minutes from downtown Milwaukee. So not too far from us, which is honestly great to have. We've got a full team of marketing, engineering, operations, quality that can, be there, within an hour and be able to, get there, solve problems, help develop the new solutions. And it's awesome that it's made here, and it's also very beneficial for us from a new product development standpoint.
So you obviously take a lot of technician input into your tools. Tell us how that system works, because if we think about something, Milwaukee comes up with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, whoa, I was just thinking about
the
that,
electric
right?
stapler.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. It's probably because we've gone out and talked to, people such as yourself out in the field with every one of our solutions, with these products that we're making here in the USA, but with everything we launch, it's all about user-driven innovation. So we're going out, we're talking to users, we're watching users work, we're taking video of them working, obviously with their permission, but looking for those things that are frustrations for them, or ways that they've modified their tools, whether it's welding something onto a pliers, making their own accessories, whatever it may be. We're looking for those opportunities to, take what users are having to do in the field themselves and do that for them in a way that's going to deliver a product that's going to help them be more productive, be safer, and, get the job done easier.
So do you have reps that do that nationwide, or is it just something that happens in Wisconsin, or how does that work out? Like if I've got a listener that has a tool or some idea, how do they get that into the system? Yeah,
so we're constantly going out. We've got teams across all of our different business units and all of the sub business units within that, whether it's power tools, hand tools, accessories. Going out, doing research, we've got concept teams, design research teams, product management teams that are all going out across the country and sometimes across the globe to talk to users to understand what are those challenges, those frustrations. We want to make sure that we are talking to everyone across the U.S. because sometimes there's different needs in different markets, and we want to understand truly what is the right solution for users. Sometimes that's multiple solutions, and bring those to market.
Right. Yeah, I've definitely noticed that, especially over the last 5 years. You guys are always coming out with something new, innovative that everyone loves. I actually have an inside joke with some of the guys that I work with, and I'm like, dude, I cannot start my day without my M12 toothbrush. It works great. I just pull it right off the charger, pop it into...
Just wait till the M18 one comes out.
Oh, yeah. You've never seen teeth that white.
I use this stuff all the time. And matter of fact, when I was a manager and I came back to a hospital I used to work at before, and we used to have hammer drills and all that stuff and it was all Milwaukee. And then when I got back into the shop where we kept our stuff, they had these vacuums, those M18 vacuums. The HEPA vacuums and the attachments for that, there's nothing like being able to pull out a box this big and suck the chrome off a bumper hitch.
Yeah.
Because when we work in pretty much a dust-free environment, especially with aspergillus and stuff like that, but that's a lifesaver. And it's got this attachment you can put the vacuum on it and drill through it, and it's got and it sucks. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, we fight for that.
No, that's awesome. I mean, obviously, that's a huge focus for us is making sure people stay safe on the job site. So with dust extraction, making sure it's as easy as possible.
Right.
I love that stuff. So tell me about the new tools. So what prompted the drive to get these tools made here? Tell me some research. Give me some background on that.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes again back to our users. So we've been in hand tools for over 10 years now. Launched our first line in 2010. Had 8 original hand tools. Brought user-driven innovation to the market, and we've continued to do that ever since. So across our team, we've got over a couple thousand solutions at this point in the hand tools and storage business unit. Each one of those with innovation and things we can point to. We're proud of each and every one of those solutions. But the one thing we've been continued to be challenged on is we go out and talk to a pro electrician, such as yourselves, or talk to utility lineman, mechanical, tradesperson. They've continued to stress the need for USA, especially on some of these key solutions. So things like pliers and screwdrivers. They've continued to emphasize that, and we listen. So we've heard that, and we knew we needed to make that investment to, have that solution for them. We've gone out and even talked to apprentices, talked to training centers, and you get that tool list that you got to start with when you first start up, and it's 10 to 15 tools, and more often than not, it says something on there like must be USA made or USA recommended. So we know from the very beginning of these people's careers, it's being encouraged, and we wanted to have that solution for them. We knew it couldn't just be USA though. We're obviously very proud of that. It says it right on the product, but we knew we needed to deliver on the performance piece too. So we really view USA as kind of the ante to the game, and then we looked at, okay, what are the frustrations that are out there, just like we do with every other product, and found some key things. Cutting pliers, we know they're used and abused. Something like a lineman's is going to get used to cut, who knows whatever's out there. It's,
or a hammer.
We know
we
that.
Talk about that. Yeah.
It's definitely that, first tool rule, whatever's right there. So we found, challenges with making those difficult cuts, or with the cutting edge or the teeth holding up. One of the biggest things we found in pliers is just users want to be able to open and close them easily. Talk to thousands of, tradespeople at this point, and they've all got some secret way of breaking in a pair of pliers to get that smooth open and close. It's, almost like a baseball glove. They got their secret sauce. And it was very similar on screwdrivers. The tips didn't fit in the screws. They slipped. They stripped out. So
bingo. Or they rust.
Yes.
That's a huge thing. There's one of your competitions. I shall not name them.
Right.
I love their hand tools. Because I do sprinkler work too. Every time I have to use one, they rust, and it just drives me bonkers. Because I'll pull it out of my tool bag, and I'm like, another bit's gone bad.
Yeah, and it just makes everything else about it worse. So we took all that feedback and really looked at, okay, how can we solve for that? And honestly, a lot of it came down to manufacturing and investing in best-in-class manufacturing. And when we took a look at that, it's like, well, why not do it right here in our own backyard? Bring USA to market, and also be able to deliver the best-in-class product by developing and looking at how should you make a pair of pliers in 2020, how should you make a screwdrivers in 2020, and really bringing that innovation to market.
So you're employing folks back in an area that I'm sure the movement, of all those factories out of the United States, actually bringing them back in is, to me, a critical thing. I mean, reinvesting into our own infrastructure for our own folks. And I've got in-laws and family members that are from Wisconsin, so they'll appreciate that.
Awesome. No, we're very excited, and right where we're at is honestly a really great location too. There's a lot of manufacturing know-how. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great technical schools that we partnered with, local colleges to make sure we're bringing in the best people, because we need them to help us develop the next wave of products that we're going to be launching after this. So it's a great location to be in.
Yeah, can you talk about those, or are those hush hush still?
No, it's really just going out and kind of starting to build those relationships. Mm-hmm. And for people that are looking to get into whatever it may be, forging, machining, starting to build those relationships with those schools that are helping teach people how to do that, and making sure we're recruiting them and bringing them in, because we need more and more people as we continue to look at what else we're going to launch out of the facility.
Yeah, I could think of several different divisions. Like there's one company in particular that they make a good product, but for like grooving and for piping and stuff like that, rigid is it. I mean, they're like the standard in that. But I'm absolutely convinced that if Milwaukee walked into that arena, you'd own it, because every Milwaukee power tool I've ever owned, that I've ever personally owned or owned as a company, is still working.
Awesome. It's funny. I've actually got my grandpa's right angle drill and Sawzall from the 50s. He was a plumber, and they still work. So
oh yeah.
I don't use them because they're a little heavy, but
they're a little
plug them in and pull the trigger, and it still powers right up.
That's when men were men, and they're like
he was a little stronger than I was.
Yeah. I still remember like when my dad came home from boot camp. He's thinking he's tough. My grandpa was an auto body guy. Worked on cars day in, day out, owned his own business. And my great grandpa had been retired for 20 years, and they all had an arm wrestling competition, and he smoked them both twice. I'm like, jeez.
I had a metal shop instructor who could crush valve springs with his hand. That was his claim to fame. And you'd shake his hand, and he just we're like, oh, it wasn't a kid in the class that he couldn't hurt. And then he finally said, you want to know why I can do that? And he'd pull out a valve spring and crushed it like that. And goes, because I've been doing this since I was a kid. Yeah. Says, I got into metal, and my brother got into wood, and that's why I teach metal shop. He was a funny guy. So how did you get into this trade? What's your background?
Yeah. So I actually went to school for marketing, knew that I wanted to be something in, involving business, and got really lucky to find Milwaukee Tool as I was at school. I actually grew up doing residential construction.
Cool.
My dad, since, he actually worked at a manufacturing facility, but then when I was about 8, left that job and moved into residential construction, something he'd done on the side. And so nice. I had a lot of experience, remodeling, helping with some additions. So I got to use a lot of tools growing up.
Right.
So when I saw that Milwaukee was recruiting, it was kind of a perfect fit of, taking everything that I'd learned in school and then being able to go out and use tools, get my hands still on things, get out on job sites. And, as I started in the sales team, but then eventually moved into marketing, I love what I do. Day in and day out, you get to go talk to users, understand their challenges, and work with them to develop solutions for them. So it's, each day it's some new problem, but it's also rewarding to be able to solve that problem.
Yeah.
So then the company's as good as the tools, I take it. I mean, because the rep out here is fantastic, and when our apprentices graduate, they're given a lot of Milwaukee stuff.
Yeah. So. No, I've been here 11 years now, and I've enjoyed it. I think the time I've been here kind of speaks to that of, enjoy what I do. It's an awesome group of people to work with. They challenge you each day to get better. And, it's when you've got problems, it's awesome to look around and see everyone pitching in and looking at how do we solve it and, bring the right solution to the end user at the end of the day.
Right.
Cool.
That's the old first one's free. Get them hooked on Milwaukee early. You can't, once you go really Milwaukee, you can't go back.
It really is because I literally have my personal set is not Milwaukee because I had bought it years and years and years ago, and I pulled it out at a construction site and the guy goes, "That come with a doll kit?" Does that come with a doll house? And I was like, "Oh my god." I just, so every time I wind up using this thing, I'm just like, oh, sorry. I was like, should have bought the other one. But for my professional use, I mean, all I'm doing is bouncing around my barn with it. But all my professional stuff has always been walking. Always.
Awesome.
Like,
well, obviously we appreciate the support.
But it was like still a slam.
Did you? Okay. maybe I'm slow for this, but I was working with another electrical company, like, I don't know, like a year ago. And I was like, hey, do you have a reamer? I don't want to go back for mine. And he's like, dude, you have Milwaukee channel locks. And I was like,
yeah.
And he's like, what, you think that was just to make it look cool? And I was like, I genuinely did.
You didn't know that?
And no. And he like sticks it in there and just like, shh. So smooth. And then, for the last 12 months, every time I see some, I'm like, those are also reamers? They're like, no. I was like, how did you not know that?
You know what this is used for, man? Seriously, I'm cereal right now.
God, catch up.
No, I appreciate you letting people know. That's honestly, those are some of the first hand tools that we launched. And obviously we're several generations in now, but it came from seeing electricians in the field cut off the ends of their grips to use them for reaming.
Right.
So we looked at, there it would start to peel because it wasn't meant to be cut off. Okay, how can we develop something that's the grip's gonna stay on, but it also gives users that feature. That's exactly what we're looking for with everything we launch. It's what are users doing to their tools in the field to make it easier, and how can we do that?
How you modifying them? Yeah, literally how you modifying them to make them work.
No, exactly. I mean, you guys are the ones out in the field using them. Who better to learn from?
Well, I wind up walking at this job I have with a backpack full of tools, and I use the Milwaukee backpack as well, and I love it.
It's so nice.
It's so nice, and the other thing about it is that when I get it fully loaded, and it's loaded. I mean, I carry easily 25 pounds worth of crap. Because of the campus I work in is really, really big. It takes you 25 minutes to walk across it. It's a workout, so I'm like, click the front. And get your balance right. And when I show up and I sling this thing off and drop it, open it up, I'm like, everything I need's in there. Everything I need for the type of work I do.
It's the never-ending purse.
It is the never-ending purse. It's the man purse. It's what we call. That's a man. I prefer to call it my man satchel, but whatever.
The man satchel. Oh, that's awesome. So, I don't know how much you can get into everything, but. As far as the American made, so it's basically just, I think you said like 12 tools is what you're starting with, or
35 actually.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we went after a couple
right into it.
Key categories for our core trades, cutting pliers. So we'll have linemen's. We've got several different versions of those. Ones that incorporate features like a bolt cutter, a reamer. Fish tape puller for electricians, a crimper, and then we've got versions with a thread cleaner for utility linemen, and then just more of a general purpose. Then we'll have 6, 7, and 8 inch diagonals, and then long nose pliers in both dipped and comfort grip, just knowing that there's a pretty split user preference on what kind of grip that user prefer. And then we'll have 19 open stock screwdrivers, and then a couple kits to really meet the needs of really anyone that's out there that needs a screwdriver. We've got the tip, the shank length for you,
and the security bits as well.
Not
so like the Torx
bits, on these solutions. We are looking at some other products though, so you will be seeing some more of that from us.
Nice.
And T-strippers.
Sorry, which one?
The T-strippers, the low voltage wire cutters or wire strippers, the ones we use for limited energy.
Got it. For wire stripping. I was going to say that is something that we're definitely doing some research on right now.
Okay.
Not part of this first launch, but you're going to continue to see more solutions from us out of this facility.
Because I wear through those things. I just wear through them, and I've been using the same brand because that's all I have available.
Right.
But even that particular brand, you can, I'll just go right through them. I mean.
Got it. Well, no, we'll
depends
have to
on how much I
understand what works well, but what you'd like to see improved. We're doing research now, so
awesome. I was working in a hospital downtown Portland. This was probably like 3 months ago, and I had those electrician scissors, the little snips.
Oh yeah.
And I was it was like neurosurgery just surrounded by neurosurgeons, and the dude roasted me. Like I don't know what, but he was like, you're stripping with scissors? God, I thought you electricians made money. And I'm like, these are $25 scissors. I swear these are for this. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, oh man, that sucked.
Yeah.
So get some nice bright red ones, nice Milwaukee logo.
That's pretty common though for you guys to use.
I'm gonna go down to his office. See.
Show him how clean the strips are.
Exactly.
Yeah. You didn't stab him in the eye, did you?
No.
That would be wrong.
No.
We so I do mostly fire alarm work, and so mostly what I'm cutting is FPLR, FPLP.
Okay.
And it's just a twisted pair with a Teflon jacket on it. And the Teflon jackets on the stuff that we cut, we can never really cut the jacket. You can on the newer stuff because it's not shielded, but the older stuff was shielded. So if you're working with older cable and you use, we call them T-strippers. If you use T-strippers to cut it, you'll push the outer shield right into one of the conductors and ground it.
Got it.
And so our technique, my technique that I use is I strip the ends and then rip the wires apart. Then cut it back and fold there's a whole thing that I go through, and I use the same exact technique. But when I open up the two conductors in it, that's when I go to snip these things or go to strip them. Mm-hmm. And mostly it's 18 gauge, so it's you're dealing with the small stuff like that. But that's not the only cable I work on. So if I do happen to go to use that for larger stuff, they usually come in two different types. They use one for multi-strand and one for solid. And if you get them mixed up, they can cut too far in if you're not careful. And I don't install much anymore, so mostly what I'm doing is maintenance or new stuff. When I was an installer and I did some install work, I just run through them. I might just run through them flat out and use them right up. So it's a
yeah,
it's a big deal.
One
it's
question.
A big darn deal. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, one question that I have, especially for electricians, you guys have a ginormous catalog, and I feel like a lot of guys might not even know about half of the tools that you guys have. If you're just picturing what are you seeing at Home Depot or Lowe's or any of these other places. So would you be interested in talking about maybe some of the things that you guys have come out with in the last few years, especially for, the trades, but more electricians?
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of because we launched so many new solutions and across so many different categories, but it really is about, being that full solution provider for a user. You're looking at electricians specifically, starting with the power tool side. Obviously, we've got a wide range of solutions like drills, impacts, the saws that really meet, the core needs that they have. But then we get into some of the things like our force logic, crimpers and cutters as we get into some of those larger gauges and, need to make those connections, really delivering an innovative and, high-tech solution there to make sure that those are clean, connections. You've got confirmation, reporting out with our one key solutions. And then, shifting over to, SDS rotary hammers or dust extraction, continuing to add more solutions there, as we know that's often needed as you're hanging things, you're drilling those holes. Shifting over to the hand tool side, which is obviously where I spend most of my time. We've really put a lot into electricians in that trade lately, knowing that it is one of our core trades. We've obviously had things like pliers, screwdrivers, wire strippers, since we first launched hand tools, but a few years back, we launched conduit benders, which was a first for us.
Yeah,
that was one of my first, honestly, projects that I took from the very beginning to seeing it out in the field, and it was cool because starting with the conduit bender, you've got to keep the general geometry. You can't really change that because of that's what everyone's trained on, and that's what code is in terms of how you bend conduit. But looking at how do we bring innovation to something like that, again, it went back to what are users doing, and saw hundreds of users trying to take spray paint, permanent marker, whatever it may be, to write on those markings to try and see it a little bit better. We also saw issues with the shoe and the handle just coming unthreaded, starting to spin, especially as you're bending in the air. So did things like add the high contrast markings, so you can easily see, the 30-degree bend mark. We secure double bolt the handle, so just put 2 screws or 2 bolts in there. That came right from, seeing a user drill a hole through their conduit bender and put a nut and bolt in there themselves. Asked them about that, and then we found that a lot of other users were seeing the same frustration. So we launched those several years back. We added fish tapes. We've got the polyester line, which is we were one of the first to bring that to market here, and tried to do something different compared to fiberglass, because what we were finding there was they keep fiberglass under lock and key on a job site because it was expensive and very prone to breaking. A minor bend or kink would basically render the tool useless. So we looked at what's a different material that can still deliver the benefits of non-conductive,
polyester doesn't shred, and when you get those fiberglass, that's a nightmare.
And you can take our there's no fiberglass shreds, and you can take our fish tape and basically tie it in a knot, untie it, and still go use it. So it just delivers a more durable solution for users in that lighter weight material that they're looking for. We've added fish sticks. We've got a conduit reaming screwdriver now that's actually got multi-bit functionality. So you got multiple different tips on there. Our ECX bit for some of those electrical fasteners. So continue to add solutions there. Obviously, as you look at what we do on the storage side, you mentioned the backpack. We know people are walking around cities. Some people might be taking public transportation. How do they get their tools to and from the site? Leads right into what we do with pack out, and making sure people can get on and off the job site, store their tools in a trailer or store them back in the shop, keep things organized, into PPE. And looking at we really was a very similar story to hand tools. There was not a lot of change, and we looked at how can we bring something new to market that allows users to stay safe, stay productive. So across all of our categories, we really try to look at how do we, from the moment electrician wakes up and brushes their teeth with that M12 toothbrush to going to bed at night, how do we have a solution for them to make their day easier?
We need a Milwaukee blankies.
The heated blankets next.
Heated blanket, put my M18 in it.
All of our wives are going to be so hot on they're going to be like, I get it now. I completely get it.
You can get all the Milwaukee stuff you want. Yay! No, the fish tape. I first time I ever used a fiberglass fish tape, I was working with a guy, and I inadvertently pulled it through an LB, and it popped in there. Ooh. In like a 1/2 inch AMT, and I was like, oh my god! It was right before lunch, and so I'm trying everything I can to get this thing out, and for him not to see it. I was just a recent. Just turned out basically. Finally,
I got this a couple
of
years ago.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's exactly right. I finally got this thing out and corrected my problem. And as soon as I got it all done, and it was in a room that was a boiler room anyway. And then I was in particularly stressed out over this. And when it was all said and done, I got the pull done. The guy looked over at me and goes, "Bet you'll never do that again, will you?" He'd seen the whole thing and just backed off and let me suffer through it. And he goes, you never ever use a fiberglass tape on a 90 LB, man. You just never do that. I was like, I learned the hard way. Man, that was not. I almost ruined it trying to get it out.
Yeah.
Because you cannot back it out. It will not back out. You had to dig it out like this and get a loop. And then you're putting too much stress on the fiberglass. So
and
kids don't make that mistake.
Yeah, so that thing can bend, and it still has like the similar driving force of a fiberglass one.
That was one of the unique things we had to look at. Is you want the flexibility, but you also need the push strength. We talked to some users on some other solutions, and they describe it like it's like pushing on a rope. It's not going anywhere.
Right, yeah.
Especially when you got that like 90-degree bend that's 90 feet out. You can tell it's there, but you can't push it around it. So we actually looked at, and we have a triple strand design. So it's actually 3 pieces of polyester woven together. That gives us push strength to be able to make it around those tough bends, that are right at the end of the run or something like that.
So you have an R&D department that does with all this?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of different people. I mean, our whole company is really, focused on bringing new products to market. It's what we do and what we focus on. So everyone from our product marketing team, to our early research and concept teams that are looking at, sometimes applications, but sometimes, broader, here's what someone's just doing throughout the day and looking for opportunities for improvement. We're really trying to look at all different avenues and, look at all different things that we can do to bring new solutions to market based on what users are telling us, based on how we're observing them work.
Wow. That's cool. Well, like I said, I just dig the fact that it's made in America.
Yeah.
Not outsourced. That's a huge deal.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know how much they cost, but I'll pay the extra.
Yeah, no kidding. I will too.
100%.
Awesome. No, we're going to be right in line with competition. So we knew we needed to be there. So yeah, we'll be bringing USA, that user-driven innovation, that best-in-class performance, and at a price point that I think people will appreciate.
Oh, sweet.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So when are you guys going to one key the pack outs? Have you guys thought about that?
We do have a few of the solutions where you can put, the tracker in there to know where it's at, but running into some issues where tools are disappearing or.
Yep. Yeah, we're based out of Portland, so.
Wax Eloquent, what's happening?
Oh no, we had one guy and he had like a full pack out system. It's his fault, but anyways, yeah, his van got broken into, and
that's the worst.
I mean, that guy hit a gold mine. Pack outs and Milwaukee Tools.
No, it
wasn't fun for him though.
I was gonna say it's very unfortunate, obviously, when we hear that. It is cool though. We have heard, many stories now of, the pack out did have a one key solution in there, or, they broke into the trailer and happened to grab one key and they were able to track it down. So, trying to do our best to obviously, help support that.
So it has a tracking ability?
So,
talk Wax Eloquent, because I'm not
yeah. So the Milwaukee one key, he'd probably be able to explain.
Well, why don't you explain what one key is? Because if I don't know, my listeners may not know.
So one key really allows us to have some, number of different aspects. It really allows us to bring kind of a connected tool to the job site. So on certain products like our crimpers, it's going to help you, know that you can upload all the different crimps you made that day. So when you got to report out to, the inspector, whoever it may be, you can prove that, hey, every one of these hit the load that they were supposed to. It's got Bluetooth tracking in there. So if another, person has that one key app and, that tool goes missing, you can mark it as, missing, and they happen to go by it. It's going to ping, and let you know that, hey, your tool's been found. So it allows us to do a number of different things. It's really just trying to, again, go out and understand what users are looking for and, bring a solution to market. One of the big things that we do with that software is offer, tool management, whether it's, individual contractor that's trying to keep a, track of everything that's in their van, up to, large companies, managing inventory and trying to understand where our tools, assigned to and where are they not being used, so I can bring it back and, send it out to a different job rather than purchase something new. So it allows us to do a number of different things. And the cool thing with software is we can continue to develop it and launch new versions, very rapidly. So it's continued to grow and expand.
So let's go back to the crimping. So if you have this particular tool, because I don't think I've seen this tool or this line of tools.
The one keys?
No.
I think a lot of their M18 and I'm not sure about M12, but a lot the M18
I would see the
products
M18 is doing it. So so if you use this tool, so basically it's got a Bluetooth tracking, and so it's got the location feature, right? And then if you used it for crimping, it would tell you you've crimped every particular, for like high voltage guys, that's a critical thing. So you know that they're getting to the right torque. So it will come back and tell the inspector that you've done it a specific way.
Yeah, it'll allow you to, track all of what you do throughout the day in terms of the crimps. And then at the end of the day, print out a report that says, hey, I made 100 crimps and 100 of them, hit the torque that they needed to.
Damn.
I know. He definitely explained it better than I would have.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I didn't think about that until now. So I'm in the Stone Ages on some of this stuff. I mean, I just really am, because I just don't do that kind of work. So that's fascinating. So if someone does take your tool and it happens to show up on the job site, it'll let you know where it's at so you can take appropriate action.
Yeah,
like a built-in air
exactly.
tag.
Huh. Nice.
I know.
I like that.
Right. I was really kidding about the pack out part. I just really wanted to get into one key because I heard you say it earlier, but I was like, man, I'm waiting to bring that up.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Dave. So he's an instructor for the IEC, which is the apprenticeship program for Oregon, and the codes instructor. I mean, you'd think he worked for you guys. I mean, he.
Yeah, we should have had him on too.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, just every apprenticeship class, he'd be, spouting, all the new stuff that you guys were coming out with, and I'm like, how much stock in this company does he own? But then, you journey out, you're buying a bunch of more tools, and you're like, man, thank God for Dave,
Well, that's awesome.
I guess I must. I literally feel like I'm in the dark ages on that. So. I really, really am because I haven't been, when you pigeonhole yourself into management for 5 years, you the only thing I was doing was enabling everybody to go do their job. If whatever they needed, here's a credit card, go get what you need.
Right.
So I didn't even think about it until now. And then when I came back up to the hill, we already had a slew of stuff that we use. So I just bought, I had to buy my new stuff and stock it, and that was that.
Right.
So, and I rarely get to see what the high voltage guys are doing because, it's not my gig. Huh. I wonder what else is happening. What other kind of cool stuff do you have that I don't know about? I mean, that is really intuitive. I didn't realize that existed.
Yeah. For 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years.
It's been around for 5-ish years.
I've been under a rock.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to keep up with what we're launching, so don't feel bad. The easiest thing to do is always just go to MilwaukeeTool.com, and usually we'll have on there what's new.
MilwaukeeTool.com, you say? Oh,
yeah.
Wow, let's go there.
That's where I point people because it's hard to tell them everything that we've launched in the last 6 months.
Right.
We're going to take a quick peek at that. Keep going.
Okay, we'll do. As far as stuff like your guys' like hammers, I think those aren't polyester. They're just like, are they polymer?
We'll have a number of different solutions within the hammer line. Not as close to it as some of the other hand tools, but yeah, we'll have the wood handle. You get into more of the steel handle, and then we actually do have some fiberglass hammers too.
Fiberglass.
That's actually been another big area. We've added a lot of new solutions just based on what users are telling us.
Yeah, I've been buying
my hammer's that.
Yeah, I've been buying your guys' tools for years, and I didn't like my hammer. It was rusting out, so I bought your guys' the fiberglass one, and I can't believe how light it is.
Yeah, it's good.
The head is so heavy. I mean, you can swing them. I think it's a framing hammer.
Got it.
So what's the warranty look like on these tools?
Yeah, so for the new USA products coming out of West Bend, we're going to actually have a full lifetime guarantee, and something a lot of our competitors used to offer but have kind of walked away from, put a little bit more red tape on there. We're really confident in the product quality with that best-in-class manufacturing, and then the best-in-class quality that we have in that facility too, to make sure that we're staying within spec, delivering what we're saying for end users. So we're putting that full lifetime guarantee on there. So we don't think anything's going to go wrong, but if it does, users are able to reach out to our customer service team, give us a call, send us an email, and all the details are on our website, but reach out and we'll take care of that user, make sure they get a new solution.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That is cool that you back it up like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're confident in it, and we want to stand behind it.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it. We appreciate having you on the show. It's been awesome to talk to you guys, and
we're pretty stoked. We're like, it's a big deal to us to have Milwaukee Tools on. I mean, we've talked about this for months, and it's like, I don't know, for us, because we're a small podcast and we're working into an audience, it's nice to have big names that want to spend the time with us and talk to our audience, and every step is helping us basically spread our wings. And this is a huge opportunity for us that you guys have given us. I really, really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing for us.
And so many of our listeners are Milwaukee lovers. So just hearing this, I mean, they're going to, yeah. And when I go back to work tomorrow, well, I'm going to go back on Monday because I work 410s. But when I go back on Monday, I'm going to talk about, I didn't know that. Like that one step, that was one key.
The one key, that's a huge deal. I think one step's for brewing. Never mind. That's a different thing. But no, that one key's a big deal because we have a lot of theft going on. Like that's a huge deal right now. Portland's kind of going through a fentanyl issue, so it's like you've got some real rough areas that we're trying to accomplish. So.
And especially if your tools, last in this rainy weather.
Yeah,
aren't rusting.
And when you're starting off in the trades and you have to invest in all these tools, and then they go missing or someone rips them off, it's a real setback for a lot of folks. And we're cranking a lot of apprentices out. We have a lot of apprentices moving through the system, so the market will bear it. But I want to say that your local rep for Milwaukee out here is really, really
He
good.
is awesome.
He is really awesome. he definitely supports the apprenticeship program, which is important to me, and teaching. I can't thank him enough. So
no, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear because that's something we do around the country. We know there's often a shortage in skilled trades and people going into the trades, and everything we can do to support apprenticeships. We love doing it. And yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been awesome talking. It's cool to meet with you guys. And I know, your audience is definitely who we're looking to talk to and go out, do research with, and understand how can we bring the next solution to market, for your audience.
Well, one of the things we want to do is to add more technical stuff to what we do, and so we can bring in some of these tools and show them. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that really sucks. That the tools I think are getting delivered in like an hour. So I was expecting like.
Well, what we could do though is edit in. We could edit those tools in.
Just kidding.
We could do another podcast.
That'd be really funny if we like photoshopped them onto the table. Tyler, you gonna work on that? Perfect.
Tyler's got it.
Oh, Tyler wants to make one last thing.
Yeah.
Have you guys been doing any like research and development into maybe Milwaukee microphones? Big red mics that we can have on the show. Or sleeves.
Cordless.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Or even sleeves. If we get like Milwaukee sleeves, that'd be really funny.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. All I got is a beer koozie. Just kidding. I don't know if you guys make beer koozies.
But they do make a lot of beer in Wisconsin.
They do. All right.
All right, folks. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Halfwatt Podcast. We always want to hear from you, and we encourage you to email us at halfwattpod@gmail.com with questions or even your own stories. Funny, crazy, or praiseworthy, we want to hear it all. You can follow us on Instagram at halfwattpod to stay up to date on our feed. And be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And share us with a friend, the best way to help us grow. The Halfwatt Podcast is a production of Now Hear This Studios.